we've actually opened our windows up 5 days ago, and I've had 3 people who would I would never have met ever in my life that have walked in, that drove past the window, and they 2 of them said, what was that? They made the drive around the circle again. They pulled over, they came in. They've spent an hour and a half with. And that's just in the last few days that we've literally opened the windows. We've been in for a couple of months, but we haven't opened our windows. And I'll explain that in a second. But so we've been operating here for 2.5 months, and we've had invited guests coming in. And they've been telling other people to come in. So out of the last 2 months, we've had, an enormous amount of ultra-high net worth people. We've had the manufacturers come here, whether it was the CEO, the senior vice presidents of sales marketing, or their salespeople. We've had bank presidents. We've had some political figures. We've had ex-prime ministers. We've had an amount. The people coming through here have been amazing. And sometimes they come in and they just don't want to leave. It has that environment. And so we're very happy with what we've had so far. And now that we're opening the windows, the question is not will we have walk-ins. The question is how to filter out the ones that are really not the ones that we want to come in. So this will be more of the question. And what I'm saying about closing off the windows or opening the windows, because somebody who walks in here doesn't really want to be seen in a store buying a jet, the whole facade of our storefront, the glass, has something called the Privilite. So if we push one button, in an instance, there's an electrical charge that goes through the whole glass pane, and the whole thing becomes opaque so you can't see in. So anytime somebody walks in, we make the glass opaque. In this way, there's privacy inside. But why London first? The answer is that the international part of the aircraft, and specifically the jet market, has changed drastically. And 20 years ago, the manufacturers used to export out of the U.S. 30% of all the jets. Today, that number is 60%. So the demographics of the buyer have moved outside the U.S. for buying corporate jets. And that's why I'm outside of the U.S. But the reason why it's in London is because if you really try to look at the biggest part of that 60%, and you look at Africa, the Middle East, the CIS countries, and Europe, all the people in those continents who can afford an airplane come through London. And this is why I wanted to base myself out of London. And it's easier from a time zone to go through to Asia, to hit Africa, to hit the CIS countries, and to capture the U.S. You're sort of in the center. So from a time zone area, it's the best. And then this specific location, it's because any of those people who come to London, London actually means Mayfair, Knightsbridge, and Belgravia. And so they all have to go around this circle right outside here. So when they go around this circle, they hopefully will look inside this window and be shocked to see what they see, and then hopefully come and visit me. The next location that we're focusing on is in Asia. So it's either going to be Hong Kong or Beijing. We're trying to decide, even though China is no question is the biggest market, and it's still growing, and they're buying an immense amount of the production of the manufacturers. But Hong Kong is more Asia, and there's a little bit of a competition between Hong Kong and mainland China. So we're trying to figure out where the best location would be. Maybe it's both. I don't know. So, talking about what else resembles this kind of a model, I don't think anything does. Definitely outside of the manufacturers, there's nothing in the world that's like this. Cessna has, I think if you go to Wichita, and I haven't been to Wichita in a long time, they have what I believe is a number of mock-ups of different airplanes in there. But of course, if you're looking for a Cessna, and then you go there to see what those are. But if you want to compare that Cessna with a Learjet or with a Hawker or with a Gulfstream, you sort of don't have that comparison. Now, I can't put all those models here in my showroom, but what we've done is in the technology to be able to have full scale on our giant video wall, which is it's 8 meters, 26.5 feet long, and almost 9 feet tall, that you can put a full cross section of any airplane on that video. And as far as the length of the cabin and the width of the cabin, we can show everything up to a Global or a Gulfstream on the screen. And if you want something bigger, like an Airbus or a Boeing, well, here you're sitting in one, so it doesn't get better than this. But we can compare any airplane on that video screen.
Why an Airbus mock-up, given it's the most expensive and least populous
No, that's a good question. And the reason is because the Airbus has the largest cross-section of any corporate airplane. And what we wanted to do is we wanted to offer this space as a place that any of the manufacturers can use as a promotional location if they want to do a launch of a new model aircraft or something, or they want to have a cocktail party or something for one of their client base. So what we designed this space for is, let's say a Cessna or a Gulfstream or Falcon has a new model that's coming out, and they want to do a fantastically big press briefing and a 1 week show. We can literally take all the furniture right out of this Airbus, take the window out of the front of the plane, and then we can get a mock-up of a Citation or of a G280 or of a Falcon 2000 or whatever, and take that mock-up of that fuselage and stick it right inside this tube. Close the window, and this becomes now a Gulfstream or Falcon or Cessna or Bombardier office. And all the screens that you see in the showroom or in the trading floor can all have the same manufacturer, video, photography, specifications, bar charts, all that kind of thing on there. So basically the whole place becomes that manufacturer. This fuselage will be permanent except when we're having these one-off type of changes. We don't provide charter, we don't provide management, anything like that. However, we have preferred vendors that we recommend. And depending on where the client is based or where they're operating to or from, we basically have a database. Most of the time, in most of the cities that these people are talking about, we know who these companies are. And if we don't know them, we'll say these are the operators who you could talk to, and we're happy to interview them with you and be your representative to negotiate with them. But in most of the cities, we have a good feel. We know a lot of the companies, and we recommend who we feel are confident, trustworthy companies.
Do you think that the availability of finance is increasing, or?
Yes, no question about it. From the crisis when it started, there was no financing available. Today, there is a number of places to go, and usually you can get, in the typical banks, you can get 65% loan to value, and if you really want to, you can go get 80% and non-recourse financing. Of course, you're going to pay a lot more of an interest rate for that money, but there's absolutely financing available.